Everyone thinks buying a food truck is the ultimate escape from high commercial rent and bad corporate bosses. But behind every $12 gourmet burger is a terrifying financial blueprint that most owners don't survive. On paper, the business model looks like an absolute license to print money. You buy a vehicle, wrap it in eye-catching graphics, park on a high-foot traffic street corner, and serve 400 hungry customers during a 2-hour lunch rush. By 3 in the afternoon, your digital register shows $1,500 in cash and card swipes. You have no long-term landlord holding a 10-year lease over your head, no massive front-of-house serving staff to manage, and total control over your daily schedule. But here is the strange, almost mathematical paradox of the mobile food industry. A food truck is one of the only businesses on the planet where you can literally sell out of food every single day, pull in $40,000 to $50,000 a month in gross revenue, and still watch your personal checking account slowly bleed out to absolute zero. By the time you finish watching this video, you will understand the exact financial mechanics behind how that happens, how money actually moves through a mobile kitchen, the hidden operating costs that internet gurus completely hide from you, and why running a food truck isn't really a restaurant business at all. It is a high-risk logistics and asset maintenance operation disguised as shelter and food. To understand where the money goes, you first have to look at the initial capital outlay required just to turn the key on day one. In the food truck ecosystem, equipment generally breaks down into 3 distinct investment tiers, and your entry point dictates your survival odds. On the lowest end, you have the DIY retrofitted step van. This is usually a retired postal truck or a 20-year-old delivery vehicle purchased off an online auction site and converted in a driveway. Setting one of these up costs anywhere from $25,000 to $45,000. While that sounds like an accessible entry point for an aspiring chef, you are effectively buying a ticking financial time bomb. The mechanical failure rate on homemade retrofits approaches nearly 100% within the first 6 months. A single blown head gasket or a rusted out frame doesn't just cost $2,000 in repairs, it completely removes your physical storefront from the street during peak sales days. In the middle tier, where serious independent operators sit, you have custom-built commercial trucks and heavy-duty dual-axle food trailers. Buying a turnkey unit from a specialized vehicle manufacturer costs between $80,000 and $130,000. These vehicles come equipped with NSF-certified commercial fryers, high-output flat-top griddles, commercial refrigeration units, and certified propane fire suppression hoods built to pass rigorous county health department inspections. At the top end of the spectrum are the corporate fleet units and established restaurant extensions. These vehicles regularly cross the $200,000 mark. They feature onboard industrial diesel generators, computerized order dispensing stations, digital outdoor menu boards, and heavy-duty commercial chassis engineered for long-distance highway travel. Now let us trace the actual monetary flow of a mid-tier, custom-built truck, pulling in a healthy gross revenue of $42,000 in a standard 30-day operating month. To the average observer standing in line, $42,000 generated out of a vehicle taking up a single parking space sounds like an extraordinary profit machine. But the moment those digital customer payments process, a massive web of operational expenses begins dismantling that top-line number piece by piece. The first major cash drain is food and beverage costs, known formally in the industry as your cost of goods sold, or COGS. When you sell a $12 gourmet smash burger meal, accompanied by seasoned fries and a beverage, the physical raw materials, the ground chuck blend, brioche bun, aged cheese, specialty sauces, paper boats, branded foil wraps, napkins, and wood utensils, cost approximately $3.80. That means 32% of your total monthly gross income, or precisely $13,440, is wiped out instantly by food distributors before you even ignite the flat top. Next comes the single biggest misconception in the entire food truck industry: the belief that moving onto wheels eliminates real estate overhead. In reality, city health codes across almost every metropolitan area mandate that food trucks operate in conjunction with an officially licensed commissary kitchen. A commissary is a permanent, land-based commercial facility where trucks are legally required to park overnight, discharge gray water, refill potable water tanks, dispose of cooking grease, and perform heavy ingredient prep work that is physically impossible inside a cramped vehicle. You cannot legally prep your vegetables in your home kitchen, and you cannot park your truck in your driveway. A licensed commissary kitchen lease averages $2,200 a month just for the right to store your equipment, plug into high-voltage outlets, and prep your ingredients in a compliant environment. On top of commissary overhead, you face dynamic location costs. You cannot simply pull up to a curb in a bustling business district, open your service window, and start taking credit cards. Public street vending requires municipal vendor permits, fire safety inspections, and health licenses that cost thousands of dollars annually, often controlled by strict city cap limits and random lottery systems. If you want to operate in high-traffic, private commercial spaces, such as office parks, industrial centers, outdoor shopping centers, or craft breweries, property management companies demand a direct fee. These fees typically manifest as either a flat daily parking charge, ranging from $50 to $150, or a direct revenue split, taking up to 15% of your daily register totals. Over the course of a $42,000 sales month, parking access, permit amortizations, and site cuts eat up roughly $4,500. Then you hit the energy costs. A traditional brick-and-mortar restaurant plugs directly into the municipal electrical grid, benefiting from commercial utility-scale pricing. A food truck is an off-grid energy island powered by liquid propane and liquid fuel. Operating high BTU commercial fryers, flat tops, exhaust hoods, air conditioning units, and refrigeration compressors 6 days a week burns through propane at an aggressive rate. When you combine commercial propane tanks with the diesel fuel for the vehicle engine and unleaded gasoline for the heavy-duty auxiliary generator, your monthly energy bill quickly swells to $3,100. You are essentially paying for electricity on wheels, except at 3 times the cost of a static building grid. Next is the burden of labor. Even if you are an owner-operator working 80 hours a week behind the counter, it is physically impossible to execute a high-volume lunch or dinner rush alone. You require a minimum of 2 additional staff members, one handling order taking, payment processing, and customer handoffs, and another assisting on the assembly and fryer line. At an average wage of $18 an hour, combined with mandatory payroll taxes, legal compliance, and workers' compensation insurance, monthly labor for a small 3-person team consumes $12,600. Let us evaluate the exact itemized financial balance sheet for this $42,000 revenue month. Starting at $42,000 in gross top-line collections, your raw food and packaging costs absorb $13,440. Labor costs remove $12,600. Location access, parking fees, and event permits take $4,500. Fuel, propane, and generator maintenance consume $3,100. Mandatory commissary kitchen rent takes $2,200. General commercial liability insurance, auto insurance, payment processing fees, and routine kitchen tool replacement consume another $1,000. After every single operational expense is cleared, your net pre-tax operating profit stands at $6,160. That leaves the business with a net profit margin of 14.7%. On a static paper model, clearing over $6,000 a month in net profit appears to represent a viable, stable livelihood. However, this exact margin structure reveals why nearly 80% of food truck businesses go completely bankrupt within their first 24 months of operation. The 14.7% profit margin is an ideal scenario metric. It assumes 30 consecutive days of clear weather, 0 equipment breakdowns, 0 supply chain spikes, and consistent customer volume. Real-world physical operations do not function like a static spreadsheet. A food truck is fundamentally a mechanical hybrid between a restaurant kitchen and a heavy commercial vehicle, making it vulnerable to 2 single points of failure simultaneously. If your auxiliary generator suffers a stator failure during a hot summer afternoon, $3,000 worth of refrigerated meat and dairy products will spoil inside 4 hours, while forcing you to close for 3 days waiting for specialized replacement parts. If the truck's engine transmission fails, towing a 6-ton commercial vehicle to an industrial mechanical garage costs $1,500 before diagnostic labor even begins. A major mechanical failure does not simply generate an unexpected repair bill, it completely removes your physical storefront from the marketplace, dropping your daily revenue to 0 while your fixed overhead costs continue running. Furthermore, food trucks operate under extreme environmental vulnerability. Unlike brick-and-mortar establishments offering climate-controlled indoor dining areas, mobile vendors rely entirely on outdoor pedestrian foot traffic. A 3-day rainstorm or a severe cold front can immediately reduce daily foot traffic and sales by up to 70%. Yet fixed obligations such as vehicle loan payments, commissary leases, and commercial insurance premiums remain totally fixed. The financial burn rate during bad weather months rapidly consumes the cash reserves generated during prime operating seasons. So how do the top 10% of food truck operators survive long-term and build genuinely wealthy enterprises? The most successful operators treat street vending not as their primary business model, but as a high-visibility marketing platform designed to feed a high-margin private catering pipeline. When a food truck transitions its core business from unpredictable street sales to guaranteed corporate catering, private weddings, and large-scale festivals, the underlying financial math transforms completely. In a catering model, the operator charges a guaranteed minimum fee, frequently ranging from $2,500 to $5,000 for a 3-hour service window, collected up front with a non-refundable deposit. Because the guest count is locked in advance, food waste drops to nearly 0%. Spot commissions and daily parking risk are completely eliminated, and fuel consumption is limited to direct point-to-point transit. By leveraging their public street presence to land 50 to 100 high-margin private catering contracts per year, elite operators push their net profit margins past 30%. They convert a chaotic, weather-dependent street vehicle into a predictable, high-yield cash flow engine. Ultimately, owning a food truck is not a cheap shortcut to passive business ownership or an easy alternative to traditional real estate. It is an intense, high-stakes game of capital management, mechanical maintenance, and weather risk mitigation. Success in this industry requires viewing the vehicle not merely as a mobile kitchen, but as a tightly managed, dynamic logistical asset that must be optimized every single day the tires touch the road.